Today is day 29 of our 365-day Bible read. Today we're going to be reading Exodus chapters 19, 20, and 21, and we're going to do the Bible studies for Exodus chapters 19, 20, and 21, and then we're going to go on over to the New Testament and read Matthew chapter 20, verse 1 through 16, and then we'll do the Bible study for Matthew 20, verse 1 through 16, which is, I believe it's only one question for that half of Matthew chapter 20. Tomorrow we'll be reading Matthew chapter 20 verse 17 through 34 to finish up Matthew chapter 20, and then we'll do the rest of the Bible study for that chapter. I am following the year reading Bible plan from esv.org. I started from January 1st so that I could start at the beginning of the Old Testament and the beginning of the New Testament instead of starting in the middle of the Bible. If I would have started for April for when we started doing these Bible readings. So if you wanted to follow along or look ahead or anything, that's esv.org. And I started at January 1st for their year Bible reading schedule. So we're going to hop right in today with Exodus chapters 19, 20, and 21, and then do the Bible study for them, and then go on over to Matthew and read Matthew chapter 20, verse 1 through 16, and then we'll finish up Matthew chapter 20 tomorrow by reading verse 17 through 34, and then we'll do the Bible study for the rest of Matthew chapter 20. All right, so let's hop on in, champions. Exodus chapter 19, Israel at Mount Sinai. On the third new moon, after the people of Israel had gone out of the land of Egypt, on that day they came into the wilderness of Sinai. They set out from Rephidim and came into the wilderness of Sinai, and they encamped in the wilderness. There Israel encamped before the mountain. While Moses went up to God, the Lord called to him out of the mountain, saying, "Thus you shall say to the house of Jacob, and tell the people of Israel, you yourselves have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now therefore, if you will indeed obey my voice and keep my covenant, you shall be my treasured possession among all the peoples, for all the earth is mine, and you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words that you shall speak to the people of Israel." So Moses came and called the elders of the people and set before them all these words that the Lord had commanded him. All the people answered together and said, "All that the Lord has spoken we will do." And Moses reported the words of the people to the Lord. And the Lord said to Moses, "Behold, I am coming to you in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with you, and may also believe you forever." When Moses told the words of the people to the Lord said to Moses, "Go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their garments and be ready for the third day. For on the third day the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people. And you shall set limits for the people all around, saying, 'Take care not to go up into the mountain or touch the edge of it. Whoever touches the mountain shall be put to death. No hand shall touch him, but he shall be stoned or shot. Whether beast or man, he shall not live. When the trumpet sounds a long blast, they shall come up to the mountain.' So Moses went down from the mountain to the people and consecrated the people, and they washed their garments. And he said to the people, "Be ready, for the third day do not go near a woman." On the morning of the third day, there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud on the mountain and a very loud trumpet blast, so that all the people in the camp trembled. Then Moses brought the people out of the camp to meet God, and they took their stand at the foot of the mountain. Now Mount Sinai was wrapped in smoke because the Lord had descended on it in fire. The smoke of it went up like the smoke of a kiln, and the whole mountain trembled greatly. And as the sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God answered him in thunder. The Lord came down on Mount Sinai to the top of the mountain, and the Lord called Moses to the top of the mountain, and Moses went up. And the Lord said to Moses, "Go down and warn the people, lest they break through to the Lord to look, and many of them perish. Also, let the priests who come near to the Lord consecrate themselves, lest the Lord break out against them." And Moses said to the Lord, "The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for you yourself warned us, saying, 'Set limits around the mountain and consecrate it.'" And the Lord said to him, "Go down and come up, bringing Aaron with you. But do not let the priests and the people break through to come up to the Lord, lest he break out against them." So Moses went down to the people and told them the 10 Commandments. And God, Exodus chapter 20, the 10 Commandments. And God spoke all these words, saying, "I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a carved image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the inequity of the fathers on the children to the third and the fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, you or your son or your daughter, your male servant or your female servant, or your livestock, or the sojourner who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land that your Lord your God is giving you. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male servant, or his female servant, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's. Now, when all the people saw the thunder and the flashes of lightning and the sound of the trumpet and the mountain smoking, the people were afraid and trembled, and they stood far off and said to Moses, "You speak to us and we will listen, but do not let God speak to us, lest we die." Moses said to the people, "Do not fear, for God has come to test you, that the fear of him may be before you, that you may not sin." The people stood far off, while Moses drew near to the thick darkness where God was. Laws about altars. And the Lord said to Moses, "Thus you shall say to the people of Israel, you have seen for yourselves that I have talked with you from heaven. You shall not make gods of silver or be with me, nor shall you make for themselves, you shall not make gods of silver to be with me, nor shall you make for yourselves gods of gold. An altar of earth you shall make for me, and sacrifice on it your burnt offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your oxen. In every place where I cause my name to be remembered, I will come to you and bless you. If you make me an altar of stone, you shall not build it of hewn stones, for your your tool, if you wield your tool on it, you profane it. And you shall not go up by steps to my altar, that your nakedness be not exposed on it. Exodus chapter 21, laws about slaves. Now, these are the rules that you shall set before them. When you buy a Hebrew slave, he shall serve 6 years, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. If he comes in single, he shall go out single. If he comes in married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master gives him a wife, and she bears him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out alone. But if the slave plainly says, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free, then his master shall bring him to God, and he shall bring him to the door or the doorpost. And his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall be his slave forever. When a man sells his daughter as a slave, he shall not go out as the male slaves do. If she does not please her master, who has designated her for himself, then he shall let her be redeemed. He shall have no right to sell her to a foreign people, since he has broken faith with her. If he designates her for his son, he shall deal with her as with a daughter. If he takes another wife to himself, he shall not diminish her food, her clothing, or her marital rights. And if he does not do these 3 things for her, she shall go out for nothing, without payment of money. Whoever strikes a man so that he dies shall be put to death. But if he did not lie and wait But if he did not lie and wait for him, but God let him fall into his hand, then I will appoint for you a place to which he may flee. But if a man willfully attacks another to kill him by cunning, you shall take him from my altar, that he may die. Whoever strikes his father or his mother shall be put to death. Whoever steals a man and sells him, and anyone found in possession of him shall be put to death. Whoever curses his father or his mother shall be put to death. When men quarrel and one strikes the other with a stone or with his fist, and the man does not die but takes to his bed, then if the man rises again and walks outdoors with his staff, he who struck him shall be clear. Only he shall pay for the loss of his time, and shall have him thoroughly healed. When a man strikes a slave, male or female, with a rod, and the slave dies under his hand, he shall be avenged. But if the slave survives a day or 2, he is not to be avenged, for the slave is his money. When men strive together and hit a pregnant woman so that her children come out, but there is no harm, the one who hit her shall surely be fined, as the woman's husband shall impose on him. and he shall pay as the judges determine. But if there is harm, then you shall pay life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burn for burn, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. When a man strikes the eye of his slave, male or female, and destroys it, he shall let the slave go free because of his eye. If he knocks out the tooth of his slave, male or female, he shall let the slave go free because of his tooth. When an ox gores a man or a woman to death, the ox shall be stoned, and its flesh shall not be eaten. But the owner of the ox shall not be liable. But if the ox has been accustomed to gore in the past, and its owner has been warned but has not kept it in, and it kills a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and its owner also shall be put to death. If a ransom is imposed on him, then he shall give for the redemption of his life whatever is imposed on him. If it gores a man's son or daughter, he shall be dealt with according to this same rule. If the ox gores a slave, male or female, the owner shall give to their master 30 shekels of silver, and the ox shall be stoned. Laws about restitution. When a man opens a pit, or even a man digs a pit and does not cover it, and an ox or a donkey falls into it, the owner of the pit shall make restoration. He shall give money to its owner, and the dead beast shall be his. A beast is an animal. When the man's ox butts another's so that it dies, then they shall sell the live ox and share its price, and the dead beast also shall share. Or if it is known that the ox has been accustomed to gore in the past, and its owner has not kept it in, he shall repay ox for ox, and the dead beast shall be his. Oof, that was something else. So that was the Old Testament, Exodus chapters 19, 20, and 21. And we're now going to do the Bible study for Exodus chapters 19, 20, and 21. How long after leaving Egypt did Israel arrive in the wilderness of Sinai? This is Exodus chapter 19 Bible study. I'll read that question over. How long after leaving Egypt did Israel arrive in the wilderness of Sinai? The children of Israel arrived at Sinai in the 3rd month on the same day of the month after leaving Egypt, 2 months later. What was Israel to be prepared for in 3 days? Israel was to be prepared to meet with God on Mount Sinai as he instructed Moses. What preparations did the people of Israel make? They were to consecrate themselves by washing their clothes and staying away from sexual contact with their wives. What would happen to the people if they set foot on the mountain while God was there? Anyone who got too close to the mountain where God would meet with Moses would be killed. All right, that was the Bible study for Exodus chapter 19. So we're now going to do the Bible study for Exodus chapter 20. What was the first Exodus chapter 20 Bible study? What was the first set of instructions that God gave to Moses on Mount Sinai? God gave Moses the 10 Commandments before the rest of the laws were given. The first 4 pertain to our service and duty to God. The last 6 pertain to our duty to each other. How do we take God's name in vain? God's name should be taken in all reverence, truthfulness, and in seriousness. Professing God but not living according to his will is taking his name in vain. Stating blessing or cursing upon someone while not seriously knowing God. Rashly swearing by the name of God without good or righteous reason or purpose is taking his name in vain. Also, making an oath to God but not keeping it is taking his name in vain. Whew. What is the promise given if you honor your father and mother? If we honor our father and mother, our life would be extended. What does it mean to bear false witness against someone? Telling lies about someone or something to sway judgment or opinion is being a false witness. What does it mean to covet? We covet when we envy what our neighbor has and devise ways to take what is rightfully his. How did the children of Israel react to the smoke, the thundering, lightning, and the sound of the trumpet? They were afraid when they saw the power of God before them. What did they ask from Moses? They asked Moses to speak to them instead of God, lest they might die. How was an altar to God to be built? The altar was to be made with the earth or with natural stones, not hewn with tools. Why was there to be no steps up to the altar? For practical reasons, God did not want their nakedness exposed on his holy altar. All right, so that was the Bible study for Exodus chapter 20, and now we're going to do the Bible study for Exodus chapter 21. What did a servant have to do if he, Exodus chapter 21 Bible study. What did a servant have to do if he did not want to leave his master after the 7th year? The servant's ear was pierced to show he would serve his master forever. What happens to someone who kills someone by accident? A person who killed someone accidentally could flee to a city of protection that God would appoint. What is the punishment for premeditated murder? Premeditated murder is punishable by death. If a man struck or cursed his father or mother, what happened to him? Anyone who struck or cursed his father or mother would be put to death. What is required of the man if two men contend with each other and one is injured and confined to his bed? The one who injures a man who becomes confined to his bed as a result of a fight between them must pay for his loss of time and for all that is needed to heal the injured man. All right, so that was the Bible studies for Exodus chapters 19, 20, and 21 that we read. And now we're going to go on over to the New Testament and read Matthew chapter 20, verse 1 through 16. And we'll do the Bible study for that part of Matthew chapter 20. But tomorrow we're going to finish up Matthew chapter 20 by reading verse 17 through 34, and then we'll do the Bible study for that part of Matthew chapter 20. And I'm not splitting it up, I'm just following the schedule from esv.org. They split it up because there's more books of the Bible in the Old Testament than the New Testament. So just so that we finish the Bible, the Old Testament and the New Testament on the same day, on day 365, they have it split up like that. So, okay, Matthew chapter 20, verse 1 through 16. Laborers in the vineyard. For the kingdom of heaven is like a master of a house who went out early in the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard. After agreeing with the laborers for a denarius a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And going out about the third hour, he saw others standing idle in the marketplace. And to them he said, "You go into the vineyard too, and whatever is right I will give you." So they went. Going out again about the 6th hour and the 9th hour, he did the same. And about the 11th hour, he went out and found others standing. And he said to them, "Why do you stand here idle all day?" They said to him, "Because no one has hired us." He said to them, "You go into the vineyard too." And when evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, "Call the laborers and pay them their wages, beginning with the last up to the first." And when those hired about the 11th hour came, each of them received a denarius. Now, when those hired first came, they thought they would receive more, but each of them also received a denarius. And on receiving it, they grumbled at the master of the house, saying, "These last worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us, who have borne the burden of the day and the scorching heat." But he replied to one of them, "Friend, I am doing you no wrong. Did you not agree with me for a denarius? Take what belongs to you and go. I choose to give to this last worker as I give to you. Am I not allowed to do what I choose with what belongs to me? Or do you begrudge my generosity?" So the last will be first and the first last. All right, so that was Matthew chapter 20, verse 1 through 16. And we're going to do the Bible study for Matthew chapter 20, verse 1 through 16. I believe it's only one question. So tomorrow, once we finish Matthew chapter 20 by reading verse 17 through 34, we'll finish up the Bible study for Matthew chapter 20. And so Matthew chapter 20 Bible study, verse 1 through 16. And it's only one question. What is the message of the parable of the vineyard workers? The grace of God is the same for all believers. God's rewards are not for the self-serving, but for those who serve to benefit the kingdom. All right. So that finishes up our day 29. So that's very exciting, very exciting. So yes, if you want to look ahead, esv.org. I started the year Bible reading schedule from January 1st. And I'm just going through. So now today's day 29. So we're on January 29th on there. So yes, so exciting. So okay, I'm so excited for our growth, and just I don't even know what we'll be doing by day 365 in our lives, but I'm totally looking forward just to my growth, and I'm sure you're looking forward to your growth by the end of this year. Not the end of this year, but the end of, our year, which will be in April. So we'll be finishing up in April for our 365-day Bible read. So yes, it's so exciting. So, okay, I'm going to get out of here. I love you guys. You're everything. You are valuable. You are worthy. You are enough. You matter. God loves you, and I love you, champions. Champions of Jesus Christ. And I'll see you tomorrow for day 30. Tomorrow it's going to be 1 full month that we've been doing these readings. This is so exciting. So 30 straight days. So that's so great. So, okay, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Go be great and enjoy the rest of your day.